Okay, The Craft. The Craft opens before even the opening credits. We get a look at 3 of the 4 crafties, at Nancy and Bonnie and Rochelle, and they're chanting or whatever. They're doing their witch stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always comment on how much time it must take them to set up, anybody really, to set up all the candles and cups and stuff.
Speaking from experience, since we did a adorable Ouija board video, and there were 6 candles involved.
Yeah, it took like 2 hours of setup. You cursed a lot. Not cursing like the witches, but
no, it's just that there's only so much candle, so you gotta time the candles. You can't get ready too early, and you can't stay going too late.
Yeah,
those candles burn out.
On the old episode we did about The Craft, we had our theory that the appeal of this movie, and I stand by it, the appeal of this movie is you get a group of your friends together and you're all on the same page about the game you want to play.
Right.
Because when you're a kid, you know, three of the 4 of you want to play Star Wars, but then a 4th one at a certain point is like, no, I'm playing Power Rangers.
But even more important, you're all deciding to go in hard. This is going to be full LARP, and no one gets to break the 4th wall and make the rest of us feel stupid.
Right.
We're all promising to be really into this.
Right. Nobody at any point in this movie is like, guys, come on.
Well, it's kind of in their favor that magic is real in this world.
Well, that's true. But here's what I wanted to ask you. At what point, like, we see them right here at the beginning of the movie. Is magic working for them? Do they have powers yet?
Right. I asked that a little bit earlier too. Like they don't, on this watch of the movie, it's the first time I realized how many unanswered questions there are. And I've never felt any gaps in the story before, but that's one of them. Like, they are so in on this idea. You got to think they've had moments. They've had something. And obviously Bonnie seems connected because she knew, well, because she was reading the almanac, she knew that they were going to be getting their 4th the day that they got her.
The almanac says that today is the spring of new birth and reward. Oh. Yeah, she knows all this stuff. She doesn't know Sarah. Well, she reads it in her almanac. She sees Sarah like balancing a pin, and she's like, "Wow, that girl has magic powers."
She put a pencil on its point and turned it.
I'm not saying it's not impressive.
I'm saying it's magic.
Yeah, I don't know. At what point do they understand that they have magical powers? Is this a LARP versus this is real? I don't know. Guess it doesn't matter.
Well, and it's my guess as to why there's so much chanting involved with any religion, and we see in this movie over and over again the key seems to be saying something over and over and over again, and if it rhymes, then it's definitely going to work. But it's like you put yourself into a hypnotic state and you're looking for signs, so there's no coincidences, and if you want to believe in something, you can see it everywhere. Just like believing in God, you see God everywhere if that's what you believe in.
Okay, so they're seeing it's like kind of working if you believe it is.
You just need to believe.
There's a horrendous cover of Tomorrow Never Knows by Our Lady Peace over the opening credits, and then we meet.
I love that cover.
Bella Swan, and she is not Bella Swan. I wrote in my notes, like Bella Swan. She's pouty and sad about moving to the stupid new town of Los Angeles. But yeah, the Robin Tunney as Sarah is in the. I mean, Bella Swan is also riffing on this. Sad girl moves to a new location, is an outcast, is a misfit, falls in with other misfits.
It is a dick move to move your kid in high school. Once they're in high school, they're already baking. You just need to let them stay there and cook.
Usually there's some reason given, like my dad just got remarried or his job. It's just.
My dad wanted to.
We wanted to move. Wanted to move. Yeah, move me my senior year.
You kind of get the wave of like, okay, she did have a suicide attempt. It's easy to blame it on the location when you're not really sure what to do. So maybe a change is good. Maybe they need to get out of the house where it happened.
I think I think you probably nailed it. That is exactly what happened. They move into this incredible mansion and they're like, what a hunk of junk this place is.
Guess we need a new roof. A gold roof.
Is this Spanish style architecture? What architecture is this? All right.
That sounds right.
And then a scary snake guy comes to the door, and the dad's like, "Hey, get out of here, you! Get out of here!"
Did
he spook you?
Totally don't. I mean, other than just to give us the heebie-jeebies or to let us know this movie's gonna have some turns, I do not know what foreshadowing really the thing he says, if I had a dream about you and you die, like he's not right. In fact, he dies. So
yeah, is he connected to these witches? Is he in tune to the powers of Manon? What's the deal with this guy?
He has a copy of the Farmer's Almanac.
It's like in in the first Friday the 13th, there's a sequence where there's just a snake in somebody's cabin. You're like, oh my God, a snake. And it just makes you feel like evil is present, even though we're in the woods and a snake is, yeah.
It's a common foreshadowing thing to do, is just to have something scare you. The movie doesn't allow you too much peace or a book or anything. It's just like even a car backfiring or something. Something just needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, she gets dropped off at school and her dad's like, hey, you don't have to go to school. You could at least wait until you get a uniform. And this is the most upsetting thing to me in the movie, is going into a school that wears uniforms without your uniform. And,
do they have a uniform at this school? This is the most lax fucking policy on uniforms.
Yes, it is very lax.
In fact, she wears the exact proper uniform, which the racist white popular girl wears, I will point out, and immediately gets made fun of for wearing it the right way. Cool jacket.
I know this extremely attractive young woman walks into school and people are like looking at her askew, like, what the this fucking freak.
She's wearing the school's jacket. Doesn't even know we wear graphic tees and suspenders. Not part of the uniform. Witch tops, schoolgirl bottoms.
The dad's like, yeah, you can wait until you get a uniform at least. And she's like, I can't stay at home and watch daytime TV for the rest of my life.
See, that's perfect impression. Also, the key that she's probably been depressed and has had a lot of at-home time lately. This is her chance to start over and get her energy back, her zest for life back.
Yeah, but I'll send you to Catholic school.
That's zesty as hell.
It is. And just a reminder that, like, you know, whenever people freak out about what the kids are going to get indoctrinated with, it doesn't fucking matter. You'll have witches at Catholic school. You'll have Satanists at Catholic school.
I'd say you'd have extra.
Yeah.
What a better way to rebel? Give me rules I go against.
A school curriculum is just the shit you ignore. In the state we live in, Louisiana, they're violating the Constitution and mandating that every public school classroom displays the 10 Commandments.
What?
And maybe as a younger person, I'd have gotten upset about it. But now I'm like, you know what's going to guarantee the 10 Commandments aren't cool? Is having
putting them up.
Yeah, putting them up in a school classroom.
That's why I litter all the time and I do drugs.
Yeah. That's why I don't give a hoot.
Because like Ace of Base, I saw the sign.
So, yeah, we now get to spend some more time with the witches. Fairuza Balk as Nancy. She has a noose in her locker.
Which is it's the most over the top. It's just a little bit too much in that moment. It's like, okay, we get it. She's fucking edgy.
How else would you know that she's fucking edgy? What gives you the idea?
You know how I know even more? She leaves it open. You're not a popular kid at school. You leave your locker open. She takes the noose out and then slams the door on it. And it's just open because the noose is out, and walks away from her locker. She's a maniac.
This is the kind of thing that gets the cops called on you, or you have to get taken out of class to go talk to the cops in the library. Talk with the cops.
Young
in the library.
lady, why did you leave your locker open?
With a noose in it that we can all see.
That's not the point. The point is you can't be a not popular kid at school and risk leaving your locker ajar.
Oh, okay.
The kinds of turds that will end up in there.
I got
Use tampons. I don't mean that happened to me.
You know,
it didn't happen.
Lockers are a thing that I was poisoned by media to think would play a much more prominent role in my life. And then when I got to schools with lockers, it's like 20% of kids used lockers. And
it was, for me, it was preparation for having a car. The amount of shit and food that you leave in that locker is probably a good indicator of the way your car is going to look 1 month after owning it. And for me, old bread. So
you had a messy locker.
Had a messy It was just one more place for me to be depressed that I'm not good at keeping up with things.
Well, you know, it was like, you got to save your back. You don't want to bring all those textbooks home with you. But it's like, but all my classes give me homework, so I have to bring them home.
Right. And the idea was like, just bring the ones you need to the classes. Then don't make the school campus so big. The campus was huge. Tons of flights of stairs. If I want to go to my locker, I don't get to go to my class. So kind of null and void at that point.
So like Sarah's in her French class. Breckin Meyer's there. Skeet Ulrich is there.
All the best.
And all these characters we've met over the past month of our show.
Yeah.
Breckin Meyer and Skeet Ulrich. And Sarah, Robin Tunney, is making her pencil do the thing where it's standing up on its point and spinning. And Neve Campbell as Bonnie is like looking over and she's like, wow.
Well, yes, because magic, right? It's a pencil, which means magnets can't be involved, Matt. You're losing the reason why the pencil matters. Very convenient that they have all the same classes together, because the moment Bonnie realizes, I told you she is the fourth, she is immediately in biology with all the other witches, where she can, and the new girl, they're all in the same classes, so she can be like, I told you,
yeah.
She is a witch.
Skeet Ulrich is Chris, and he goes and sits with Sarah at lunch, and he gives sort of a David Krumholtz and 10 Things I Hate About You tour of the school. It's like, see those girls over there? They're bitches. In fact, they're witches.
End of tour.
That's the tour.
That's the whole tour.
That's the only thing you need to know about this school is we have witches. Stay away from them. They're witches. You have to have this in every like vampire movie or witch movie. You have to get the warning, stay away from them. Bella, stay away from them. The Cullens, they're weird. They're vampires. We're normal. We're werewolves.
And Lost Boys, you're right. That also happens. Corey Feldman's like, vampires.
And hey, here's what I'm going to do for you. You can come watch me practice football. So she does, as a cover of the Smiths' How Soon Is Now is playing. And How Soon Is Now was the theme song to the TV show Charmed, which Robin Tunney in one of the oral histories said, so it's clear that was just a ripoff of our movie. And it was on for so long and so popular that people assume I was in Charmed.
Oh, wow.
Because they're mixing up these two things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So many sitcoms. I don't know why that happened, but I immediately felt like, nope, those aren't my shows. I can't even name the ones I did watch. Every episode, I feel like you bring up a new 90s sitcom that was super popular with everybody but me. No Dawson's Creek, no Gilmore Girls, no Charm, no
sitcoms,
Buffy.
though. These are, and I'm just saying it because we've been getting a lot of corrections. These aren't sitcoms, though. These are dramas.
Sorry, I use that word just network TV.
Yeah.
Network TV serial show.
Somebody corrected our Dirty Dancing episode. Just like, there's 2 sisters, not 3. Like, if we said 3, I'm sorry, but we said 2 sisters 25 times in the episode. My God.
Never be a public figure, listeners.
It's hell.
Man, is it hard. And I don't interrupt person who commented on video that we uploaded this week. She makes friends the first day, even out of her fucking uniform, because she's a witch and doesn't want to watch that guy play football. She's trying to figure it out. What's cool? Go and hang out with these bitches, hanging out with that dick. I don't know. Let's go shopping.
They invite her shop.
They invite her.
Go get coffee.
They don't really give her a choice. And they go to the witch Barnes and Noble, and they show her that, they steal things. And then they ask her to steal a book, and she says she doesn't do that. And then she buys the book. And that's where she meets the nice witch and learns that people can tell by looking at her that she's a witch and is a natural witch. She never mentioned being a witch at all to this woman. She's like, oh, I guess you're a natural witch. Did you see her wiggle her nose? Did you see her make anything fly? No, you didn't?
Well, it's like Star Wars, the Star Wars prequels. You just pick up on this essence. You know, I can feel the midichlorians coming out of you, young lady. If you have a witch store, how many people who come in do you think are just going in for a goof versus actual paying customers?
It has to be most of your foot traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's LA. It's not like it's Salem or there's tons of witch. I don't know. I'm trying to think of are there witch stores in there's got to be.
There's a witch store in Covington, Louisiana.
What's it called?
I don't know. The witch store. I don't know.
Okay,
Witch's Brew.
All right. It's a little on the nose. Now she's seeing it's nighttime. This is a new place and there's a lot of unhoused people, and she notices the man that had the snake and was in her house. And he's still got the snake. That's nice. He's a good pet owner. And this is when he starts saying, I had a dream about you. And he's following her, and it freaks out all of the witches. And they all cross the street. Sarah's the last one to cross the street. He follows her into it. And apparently they all think at the same time, he's going to get hit by a car, or I want him to get hit by a car. And they cause the man's death. And then they run into the hobo woods, and they sit on disgusting sofas and get real excited about how the fact
that happened. We did it. Are you able to do stuff like that? You think things and then they happen? And she's like,
A
Yes.
man's dead.
Well, you know.
It's dead. That's
But I
good
wished
for
it.
us.
I wished it for him to be dead.
He was, and then that's where Nancy starts her, making it all seem like it's okay. She's like, he was after you. He was going to get you, Sarah.
And are you able to do stuff like that? And she's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish for things to happen and then they happen, but like kind of weird. Like sometimes I wish for it to rain and a pipe will burst in my room and it will get flat.
And then sometimes I'll just wish that's quiet and then I'll go deaf for like 3 days. Okay, this is gonna be so fun to listen back
But this is where it's on overdrive, this particular scene out in the woods. And then Fairuza Balk starts explaining about Manon. And every time they say Manon, it's like I feel like you're dropping the end of a syllable right there. Manon.
Like, what is that choice? It takes me out of the movie, but it's such a part of the movie that like I forgive it. Again, all the things that annoy me are just make it more of why I feel so attached to it, because all of the beats are so familiar. You have to have the bad too.
No, I don't want Manon to not be in this movie. That's the only thing I will remember about this movie is the word Manon.
I'm glad you enjoyed
It
it.
makes it special.
Oh.
If it were Gog Magog or something, not as special. I don't know, Gog Magog. Well,
Pretty special.
She's like, Manon, what are you even talking about? Do you guys worship the devil? She's like, no, Manon is like, if God and this devil were playing in football match, Manon would be the stadium.
And the sun that shone upon them. I read that in a book.
Okay.
The Farmer's Almanac.
But at a certain point, something they say is too far for Sarah, and she's like, I'm out of here. And she leaves.
You guys are being weird. Yeah. Well, she's, it seems like, and maybe this is what drove her to try to commit suicide. Her powers have been a nuisance and been a presence, and she thinks she's weird because of them. And these girls are talking about like leaning in and like really, really, deciding the things she sees and feels and thinks are real, where she's probably had doctors her whole life telling her to suppress them. That's not happening. You need to take this medicine. That's my read of it. It's just like, no, my string says to not practice magic.
Well, we should probably have gotten one scene before
Just
she even
one.
met the witches where she displays a power and it seems like a burden to her. Maybe her dad's like,
Yes.
seems freaked out or creeped out about it.
Yes.
And it's like this thing that has been a burden to her. She's now attracted to these girls who make her realize, no, it's what makes you great.
Exactly. Like, I mean, yeah, don't give us the information that her mom is dead and then tell us about the suicide attempt and then we just fill in the wrong blank. But maybe it's all part of a potpourri that makes Sarah angsty. All right. So, God, she's having a long day. Or unless, no, because she's wearing a uniform now, huh? Is that a uniform?
I think
okay,
so
they don't do a great job of letting you know this is now a different day. But now she's on a popular teen roof with the guy that the witches warned her is a jerk. He is a liar. He will fuck you over. He tries to bang everyone, and so they have just so much chemistry up here. Just the wittiest back and forth about head size you ever did hear.
He's complaining about the witch girls, and he's like, their heads are so big. It's like, you have a lot of opinions about heads. And he's like, yeah, you should have a good size head. I'll kiss you.
Yeah, yum yum, eat them up. And then so they kiss, and then he's like, come on, babe, let's go back to my house. And she's like, no thank you for sex on this first rooftop evening. But very 90s of her, very relatable. She's like, is that okay?
Are you mad?
Are you mad? Yeah, are you mad? That's even better. And
He's like, no.
he's such a fucking asshole. He's just like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, because it does seem abrupt what he does next, but you do realize this is just the kind of fucked up piece of shit he is, which he'll tell you in the moment, like, no, it's totally cool. And then the next day he'll tell the whole school she's a dirty, not only that we fucked, but she was bad at having sex with me.
The worst lay. This was so mystifying to me when I was younger. I knew that there was an active role for women to take in the bedroom, but that they could be bad at it. This movie taught me that was possible. And I'm like, but they lay there.
I don't think to a teenage boy they can be. What could she possibly have done?
What kind of adventurous Rose McGowan fucking kink shit have you been doing in the bedroom? And it's her first time and she'd lay there. You're a lousy lay. Get the blood off my sheets now.
Lousy. It was lousy.
What experience do you have, sir? He hasn't lived long enough. And I am adamant you need a 2-year relationship for anyone to get good at sex. Because you need to be with them long enough to
2 years.
Experiment.
Wow.
You know, you said something similar.
No, I didn't. Don't say that.
To be so good at something that you can be confident you bring in the skills with you. At this child, I think not. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
This is a point I've made. Yes, I think that here, we're going to get real for you. We're adults. If you want to be good at having sex, unfortunately, you probably do have to have a long-term relationship with somebody.
But one where you actually have a good relationship. I think it's just trust. So if it takes a long time to build trust, that's what makes the sex better and better and more elaborate. I don't know.
Yeah, so this movie, we're complaining about the plot hole. If he wouldn't even know what good sex was if it whacked him in the mouth.
This teenage child does not know what a lousy lay is yet. Yep. All lays are good lays.
She goes up to him
at this point.
Well, Fairuza Balk tells her that the school is abuzz with the rumors that you're a lousy lay, and she goes and confronts Chris, and she's like, "Hey, can we talk?" And he's like, "Hey, listen, leave me alone. Stop begging. It's pathetic."
It's so villain.
It is.
I'd rather he just kill my mom and then kill me later, like he does in the Scream movies.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Hey, Chris, fuck you."
Right. Oh God. Oh, I just feel so bad for her in that moment, and I hate her. Hey, Chris, and I'm like, don't say it. You're not going to say something cooler this time, Sarah. Fuck you. Like, damn, Sarah. God damn it. You are a lousy lay. What a stupid comeback.
Well, what should she say? Give me one thing.
Just walk away. There's nothing good.
Or, "Hey, Chris, your dick is small." That's what you do.
Yes. And that it smells.
Oh my God.
Smelly dick.
You hear so much about small dick. You don't hear so much about smell dick.
Yeah.
We see we spend some time with the other girls, with Neve Campbell, with Rachel True. We learn they're experiencing problems of their own. Rochelle, the black woman, is on her very white swim team, and they are just admitted racist toward her. They're like, "We hate you because you're a black person. We hate that about you. And your hair is like a pubes. That's gross." And she's like, "Leave me alone."
It is just the one girl, but boy, does that other girl laugh at it. And that she's just so it's so the movie really does just give you 3 dominoes and knocks them all down real clean and easy. What's the deal with Rochelle?
She's black.
What's the deal with Bonnie? Scars and a huge pussy, because the doctor is saying, "Okay, this shouldn't hurt. You might feel a pinch, you might feel a sting," and she really just okay.
Okay, so in light of what we were talking about earlier, when you say huge pussy, I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something about her anatomy? Oh, she's a coward. Because she has lots of scars on her back, and when the doctor's like pokes her real gently, she's like, "Oh."
Okay. No. To be fair, it looks like on the level of getting a tattoo. So that's no fun.
You fucking witch or not.
And she's probably, the scar tissue of burns are really freaking sensitive. So I take it back.
Do they explain how she got these scars?
No, and it never bothered me until this time.
Well, it doesn't have to bother you. Just let it go.
All right, I'll let it go.
Just did I miss something about she got burned by a warlock or something? No. Okay.
Oh, right. Spell turned wrong. A cauldron spill.
A cauldron.
Yeah.
But an empty cauldron. Yeah, and then Nancy goes home to her trailer, and her mom is yelling at her shitty stepdad. It's like, "You've got to pay the bill, you son of a bitch."
Well, her mom's drunk. The trailer is leaking, and he is nasty. You can just tell he's going to be no good. So white trash burns black.
Those are the attributes.
Those are the people.
Next day, well,
who knows?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's good storytelling. It's good plotting that she's initially hesitant about all this witchery, but then in seeing the powerlessness she has in the social hierarchy of the school, which is she can respectfully turn down Skeet Ulrich and say, like, "But dude, we'll have sex in like a week or something. Don't worry about
dates.
it." Yeah. But no, that totally turns that totally turns against her. So it's like I might as well go and embrace my witch powers, because then, like what the screenwriter was saying in the history segment, like magic is a way to is a way for the underclass, the oppressed, to sort of appropriate some power and some control. So she goes and follows them. They go on a field trip where they have "We are the weirdos, Mr." line that is iconic. I have found in my research.
Indeed, it is.
And they just go into some nice woods and start doing chants and stuff. And it's better that you should rush upon this blade than enter this circle with fear in your heart. How do you enter? With perfect love and perfect trust. And they do it over and over and over again.
And I've always been very mystified by the fact that Neve Campbell and Rochelle, they kiss on the lips, everybody else on the cheek.
Yeah.
Well, what happened there? Was it, like, it's like, nah, that's a good take. That's okay. You guys didn't know you didn't need to kiss on the lips, but it was so flawless otherwise. We'll just go with it. It seems like it should mean something, but whatever.
I think it I don't know. I thought it was sweet. And then I was like, oh, they're all going to kiss on the lips. And then they don't.
I thought so too. And then they don't.
They don't.
And because this is the ceremony that make it always bugged me that you need 4 people for a circle. It's like that's a square, but whatever.
There's this thing like we need a fourth. We need a fourth because
the corners,
north, east, west, south, and also earth, wind, air, fire. Also, the 4 quarters of a basketball game. Also, George Washington on a quarter.
Connect 4. But I guess it's the smallest amount of number you could need to make a circle out of something, and they are a circle, which is circle. So this is how they put all their blood into a fucking cup and drink it, and then butterflies happen.
For stuff. Well, they ask for stuff. Robin Tunney wants Chris to love her, which is this doesn't track for me at all.
I know it is a weird. It does feel like there are scenes missing from this movie.
It seems like layup. Make him. You want revenge on him,
right? Not for him to care about you, right?
Just like. And I like what happens with Skeet Ulrich. I like that he gets cursed to love her, but it just doesn't track with her character that what she wants more than anything is for him to love her. But the others, I want my scars to be gone. I want the racist piece of shit on my team to get fucked. And Nancy Fairuza Balk is like, I want to be all powerful and
I want
have
all the powers of Mono.
I want to be God. Please be God.
I'll have some God now. Thank you.
And then they all put their hands in Power Rangers, and then butterflies start flying around.
And then they turn into avatars.
Yeah. Right. It's Manon. I can feel them all over me.
What is the name of whenever the white spider things come out of the trees, the beautiful shit that happens in Awe or whatever in Avatar.
Awa.
It's Awa. Yeah, it's Awa. Those are Awa bugs.
Awa's all over me.
Awa's in me, you guys.
It's a double rainbow of Awa.
Okay. Okay. And now starts a series of adorable sleepovers. That is my favorite part of this movie, is that there are like not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4.
There's a lot of sleepovers,
and they all serve a purpose, and it is very well observed girl social time, or people of this age. This is when you get to do. This is the witching hour, if you will, because otherwise you have to go on field trips, right? So skip school, which is how they go to the woods, or you have to do stuff after school out. Well, then you run into scary homeless people. So it's like it is a very common thing for teenage girls to do, just a lot of shit in their rooms. So it's nice that they all live in mansions, and it's really sweet of Nancy to stop being white trash and get a mansion apartment so that we have another place for a cool sleepover.
At their slumber party, Sarah's like, you guys ever played the game Lies of Feather, Stiff as a Bar?
You gotta try it.
And when she said this, you, Lacey, to me said, everyone's played that game. And I wrote down in my notes, not I. I've never played this game.
It's not something guys tend to do at a sleepover. You guys probably like jerk off in a circle or make prank calls or something.
We would.
You don't know.
I had sleepovers.
With your cousins.
No.
I'm kidding.
I'm just friends with my cousins.
I'm projecting.
No, we'd like, if you get a boner under your blanket, you like make it wiggle and show your friends.
What?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. That's
the
kind of stuff.
Game?
That's the kind of stuff we would do at our slumber parties. And then like your friend would throw a screwdriver at it.
It sounds real cool.
It's real normal. It's real regular.
How did you make your boner happen? No, let's not talk about children's boners.
Why is this a female thing and not a all thing? Light as a feather, stiff as a
Because
board?
it is to see if you can like contact the dead, or like you have some kind of powers. Maybe it's because girls feel not powerful more so than guys. So it doesn't, or at least our specific kinds of weaknesses, we would need something otherworldly to enhance our security and status and stuff at this time. So it's like we try to contact the dead, tell stories about how we're haunted, or do Bloody Mary in the bathroom, or don't think that's a period game. Do you think it's a period game? Do you know what Bloody Mary is?
It's where you say Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror.
Okay, good. Just didn't want you to think it was some mystical girl period thing. Or you do light as feather, stiff as a board. You just all these little, you try to creep yourselves out and just have an experience.
So explain light as a feather, stiff as a board to me.
So you all get around the person. It doesn't matter how many of you there are. And you are only allowed to use 2 fingers on each hand. You slide them under the person. You space out and you just chant light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And then you just all at the same time try to lift the person. The idea being that it doesn't matter how many of you are, 2 fingers per person should not be able to lift another person. But you're asking the Lord or Manon to make that person light as a feather and stiff as a board so that you can raise them up. And it never, ever works.
Oh, well, that's boring.
I fucking loved it.
Well, it's like, I was hoping you'd be like, oh, you wouldn't think you'd be able to lift somebody, but actually the right amount of torque and this amount of people means that with 2 fingers, you can actually, no.
You can convince yourself that you got an inch off the ground or something. You know, it just depends on the vibes of the group. If you're with a bunch of witches, you can pretend a lot.
So there's we have a montage now. It's all coming together, all the witchcraft, all the slumber parties, and all the curses. The racist girl is losing her hair, and it's the movie does a good job of showing how upsetting this is, and I think the makeup is really good of her balding scalp. Neve Campbell, her scars are peeling off, and that too looks really good and really satisfying. I wish I could do it myself, just peel off all those scars. You do too, don't lie.
And not her scars, so just sunburn.
And then and the stepdad, Nancy's stepdad, is about to attack her mom, and then she screams and she's like, no, and it causes him to have a heart attack and he dies. And then I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. There's a little period where the other 3 girls is
right.
spells seem to have worked, but not Nancy's, and she's jealous, and she goes and prays to Manon.
But that's when it's revealed that her wish was not what we saw her do at the tree. It was to not be white trash. Rochelle tells us that, because then her joke is like, I'm like, you're white, get over it. So it's like,
but she says at the tree that she wants the power of Manon.
I know that. So it's a little bit, it's disconnected. That's not, I mean, maybe because that's too hard to like show us that's happening. So they have to give us something more specific to see that her witchiness is happening. Yeah. Anyway.
But she uses her Manon powers to kill her stepdad. And then they find out that she and her mom have inherited $175,000. And I like the mom. The mom's only in 2 scenes, but she's very funny. She's like, she's sort of crying. She's like, what a dear, sweet man. And then she starts laughing and celebrating with her daughter. And it's like, with what even in 1996, I mean, $175,000
is not
in
much
Los Angeles is not going to get you far
at all,
and they're spending it in the least efficient way.
Right, just like you're just headed right back where you came from, guys.
Yeah, because they get a giant apartment in a high rise, and the only thing in it is a jukebox and a sofa, and they start experimenting with glamour, which can make their appearances transform or whatever. Starting with Sarah turning her eyes brown. Wow. And I like that her friends are underwhelmed with this.
Yes.
And I also would not know if somebody's eyes changed color.
Correct. You'd have to change my head to a peacock's head for you to be like, something's different.
Hey babe,
Have you always had a beak? Okay, so is the next scene that they go to the beach? They're just getting better. They're getting better at being witches.
They're getting better. The love spell with Chris, because now he's stuck on Sarah. He's obsessed with her. He's in love, but doesn't know why, and he's hopeless. And Skeet Ulrich is pretty funny playing it this way, because he'll say stuff and be like, I don't know why I said that. I don't know what I'm doing here, but will you marry me?
Found it pretty realistic. Like, yeah, this is not that none of us are good at knowing what it is that we want, especially if that thing were like forever.
And he's like playing it. I mean, it's almost like an AI that has its, you know, its core programming and just has to obey. There's no reason to it. It's just like, well, I'm in love with her. So she ran away from me. So I have to chase after her, and it can even turn violent, but it's, you know, so that's starting to boil, and they go back to the witch store to like ask the witch lady, how can we undo a love spell? And she's like, you can't undo a love spell.
What you put out, whatever happens after that. It has to run its course, which then immediately makes me think of like them when they're 40s and they're married and he's just been pining over her for so long, and then it runs its course, and he's like, where the fuck am I? So anyway, how long does that take? And it is when we learn the very important thing, which if you are a witch with a witch store and you're selling all these witch books to witches, I do feel like you should have a big sign behind you that says, whatever you put out, you will get back 3 times 3. Like, I feel like that. Hey, I want you to buy the book. I want you to have a good time with the book. I hope you enjoy the book. But Los Angeles is already a shit show. Can you not ask for all the powers of Satan or whatever it is you're going to do, because you're going to cause like, you know, a fire or a riot.
How much that's why.
They caused Rodney King.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to move much product that way, though. If you're like, hey, all this stuff in here is cursed. Don't buy it.
It's not cursed. It's just put out good magic. Be a good witch. You know, a little sign with a little baby and it's got a white hat and it's like, be a good witch. And, you know, just like hang in there, baby. Do your magic. But like peace and love, not curses and heart attacks.
Everyone assumes they're going to be a good witch. Everyone assumes they're just going to be doing good in the world.
I think Nancy had
no, not Nancy, but she's exceptionally evil. But you know, in some ways, the real villain is this witch store owner. Why have a witch store? Like, how you have to trust all these people are going to go out and do and you know, obey your very cryptic warnings.
And why are they allowed to be under 18 doing this? Why you shouldn't? No child witches. That seems not a good idea.
And Nancy like sees a book at the store and she's like, look, it's a picture of the sea. We got to go to the sea and invoke Manon.
Invoke him.
Invoke. The movie, you know, has lots of things where it's like, well, now we're going to invoke Manon. It's like, but didn't you already do that? No. Now we're going to invoke Manon. Gotcha.
And it's like, you're going to get to the end of your witch stuff. I feel like you guys are really kind of like, it's only been 3 months and you guys are like plowing through it. So just like slow down. You're trying to get all the power of the one and only God that you're witching it out to. So you guys are gonna get bored.
So tell me about invoking Manon. What happens?
Hell to the power of the Steve. That's what they say. Okay. They're powerful ladies, so not everyone could get in a circle and do this. It's also very complicated. You have to read a book. So they all go to the beach. I guess they need to be near nature. Magic's all about being connected to or outside, and they all just have to say their little easy chant, and
they also each bring an exotic animal. So somebody has a clownfish. That probably costs $300 for that clownfish.
They do need to go to some sort of pet store beforehand and then bring it with them. Also, I'm sure I knew that this happened, but it was funny this time that after they all say their thing and they complete the northwest by southwest thing they're doing there, that Nancy then gets just struck by lightning. No one comments on it. She's just completely struck by lightning.
A lot of stuff. Hey, she's walking on water. That's you know.
Well, their faces tell it all, Matt. Okay, it is odd she's walking on water. But this is when Fairuza really turns it up. Really, she's hard to handle in these scenes. But it's all part of the charm for me. It's the package, just the I'm your daughter now.
Well, no, before that happens, they stand in the circle. They call upon the guardians. They each put up their hands, and then Robin Tunney puts up her fucked up hands.
Okay, yes, her hands are fucking insane. Sorry, I didn't know we were going to dig into my issues with all that she does, but but what I noticed for the first time this time is that she's trying to have a moment with Nancy. She's trying to like tell her some real shit about herself and that's when that's when I wanted to kill myself. And then but she mentions a snake, and then Nancy's response is, the serpent is a very powerful being. You should respect it. And like, then you see like Sarah's face just sink. Like, what the fuck was that? I'm telling you something about my suicide and you're telling me to respect the serpent? And that's the first time I realized, oh, that's why she's not into it. Everybody else is like straight hands, pushing their power. Hail to the south of the blah, the who. And then you get to the last person. Hail to the gods of the watchtower.
Oh, she's not into it as much. Okay.
But she's a powerful natural witch, so it doesn't matter. It still completes the spell.
Interesting.
It still brings on the mano.
But Nancy
gets electrocuted.
Nancy, that's not a way to respond to somebody trying to open up to you about their suicide, about their suicidal ideation.
It's when Sarah realizes these really aren't my friends. What have I been doing? This is all getting out of hand. People are getting hurt. Things are not going the way that we have too much power. It's affecting people's lives. And now we're doing more. She just feels like an unwilling participant. And then she's loaning. She's making this happen for them. She's responsible.
Nancy, you got to listen to something Lacey always says about how to have good dialogue with people. Relate, don't alienate. Relate, don't alienate.
I just mean this is when it's turning for Sarah. She that thing that Nancy said to her was just like the straws. Like, okay, fuck this. This is not fun anymore, and it's not we're not bringing us any closer. It's making all of you more. Everything I liked about you, gone now. You're all assholes. I'm the same, and you guys are getting worse.
Plus, now you're walking on water. Now we got these sharks washing up on the shore, and you're like rubbing them and going, "Oh, Manon did this for me. I can feel them in my veins.
It's for my body." And it's like, what are you gonna do with all these? You gonna bring them home?
Yeah, that's what. Like RFK.
I'll be like, what's been? Manon gave you these gifts. You're just gonna leave them? Rude.
No, again, that's not what RFK would do. He would come back later at least. I'm back with my car.
Oh my God. I'm going to do a sick prank in Central Park.
And then after this, they're in the car, they're riding home, and Nancy's being a little extra. And Sarah's complaining. She's like, Bonnie, you're mean now. Although we haven't seen her be mean, have we?
Just empty. Not mean. No, just kind of no. I don't think she says mean. I think she just says like vain or like and that's when she's like, I think I spent most of my life ugly. I think it's time I get to, yeah. It's just more like, Bonnie, there's not much substance to you anymore. And all you guys do is giggle and laugh, and they just turn into idiots.
And she giggles in response and then says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadian coming out in this movie. I'm sorry. Okay. As later on, Sarah agrees to go on a dinner date with Skeet Ulrich, but instead he takes her to a makeout point, and then he turns into a sexual predator because, again, he's like an artificial intelligence who has the AI programming of pursue her, you love her, and this even turns violent.
And maybe like there's something in him deep down that knows this is a weird thing that I'm oddly pulled to this person. Maybe if I just fuck it. Maybe if I just fuck this thing, it'll stop. Like, I could see him convincing himself of that.
There's a sorcerer's apprentice sort of thing where they like you can unleash a magic and not know how to contain it. And that's how Nancy's feeling, or Sarah, Robin Tunney is feeling.
And she's always been scared of her powers, or just conceal, don't feel. And these ladies told her just to feel it all. It is a hard power to have. Doesn't seem fun to be a witch, I must say.
No, and her friends are like, Nancy hears about Skeet Ulrich attacking her, and he's like, we're going to get revenge on that son of a bitch, and chases him down at a party.
And this is where you can see Nancy doesn't even want all of her powers. She's already bored. Like, she's super pumped to hear that someone did a bad thing because she's like, I want to play. Because like, she's not like, oh no, Sarah, I'm so worried for you. It's just like, oh, this is a person I don't like, and they just did the worst thing they could do. Let's kill him. Yeah. So she's so bored with all of her powers already. So she just goes to fuck with this guy at a party.
And ends up killing him.
The most beautiful bedroom I've ever seen. For teen fucking.
With a lit fireplace already going.
Roaring.
Every time we've ever lit a fireplace, it was an ordeal. It took a long time.
It filled the house with smoke. It was really hot. They're hot. They don't tell you this. You need a castle if you're going to have a fireplace. Otherwise, too hot. So
she just like starts yelling at him and she's like, sorry, my ass.
She does a glamour and pretends to be Sarah, and then that makes him make out with her hard, and they're making out for 15 minutes. I saw the clock when they started and then when they stopped. And then she turns back into Nancy and he's like, ew, yeah, cooties. And then that's when she just, she starts levitating. It's not chill. And she does the scary pointy boots rubbing along the ground. Still the most haunting part of the entire fucking movie. And kills him.
Yep, he's dead.
So dead.
Sarah's sad about this. But they can tell.
So you're gonna cry. Wow.
Yeah, and they're like, she's gonna leave the circle. We can't have that. We need to kill her or something. And so they start haunting her dreams and glamoring all over her. And they
everywhere.
Sarah's like, I'm gonna try to just cast a spell on Nancy, gonna bind her from doing any harm to anyone, including herself. But Nancy knows that Sarah's trying to do this. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. She's like, I'm going to kill you for trying to bind me. In the old days, when a witch betrayed her coven, they would kill her. So look out, watch your ass.
And it really freaks Sarah out that Nancy, because of the level she's gone up to, can tell when Sarah's taken an action against her. And I'm sure that leaves her feeling like, what can I do? I feel like she goes to the good witch way later than she should. She should always have gone to that good witch.
That's a good point. Yeah, she goes right now. And she's like, they're trying to kill me. What do I do?
That's when she runs with her... Ow. That's when she runs with her fucking mannequin head and her like borrowed parts, and she's just like she was just assembled that day, and her jacket's off of her shoulders.
Yeah, floppy arms. Tina Belcher
arms. But worse.
Runs to the witch store. He's like, oh, Miss Witch, you gotta help me because my friends.
Behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain is a temple built on a sacred site.
In LA.
With lots of magnetic energy.
Do you know how hard it was for me to get this real estate? It used to be a Payless Shoes.
Done. The witch lady says, you have to invoke Manon. She's like, but my evil friend did that. It was bad. She's like, no. You need to invoke Manon for good. For good reasons, not evil reasons. Oh, okay, good.
So they start to try to invoke Manon. And because Nancy's already got a direct line to him, she feels the invoking and causes a big fireball to go through the store. But it's just a glamour. But it gives you the feeling of like, okay, this bitch gonna blow it up. We better. I need to run away. And then she runs
all the way home to her house in the hills, and gets a phone call from Nancy, and she's like, turn on the TV.
And we're best friends now, so I'm just looking out for you. There's no trick here.
She turns on the TV, and it's a news broadcast saying that her parents were on a plane. Her father and stepmother were on a plane to San Francisco, and it crashed, and they're dead. Now, this doesn't turn out to be true. This, too, is a glamour. But
very glamorous.
When you're glamoring a TV show, do you have to like design? Do you have to write out a script? Do you have to come up with every edit and camera angle? And
that's good. That's a good point.
Thank you. It is a good asking point.
Thank you for that ask.
So now they come back. They're gonna fuck with her. The house fills up with snakes and spiders and scorpions, and it's really creepy.
I could forgive all of it if there weren't roaches. As soon as the scorpions are a problem, I do feel a little uncomfortable. I have a problem with crustaceans. I don't like crabs. I don't like crawfish. I like to eat them. I do not like to see them walking around. I don't like an exoskeleton. That's what I'm trying to say.
Scorpions are not crustaceans.
Well, but they seem crusty to me.
They are arthropods like crustaceans, but they're arachnids. They're closer to spiders than they are to crustaceans.
Pardon, apologies. I don't like their crunchy shell. I don't like the idea that if I step on them, they go. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It is effective, and of course I've got your Steven Spielberg quote or whatever. What we learned after doing our Temple of Doom episode, that it's however many snakes you think you need, quadruple it. Yeah. It's like 20 snakes sounds like a lot, and you put them in a pile, and you're like, that's nothing. Why have all this other square footage? Yeah. So what I'm thinking of, like these different, they do it cleverly, though, like to show that there's a whole lot. They're just kind of spilling out of a toilet. Well, you can put a lot of shit in the toilet and then put some bugs on top to get that effect. They show them coming out of the grate on the side of the wall. Again, you only need a few for that to be pretty good. They come up out of the drain. Only need a few. And then they're up on the windows. It gives the illusion of there being just 13 feet of insects, but it's really just they're piled up on the sill of it or whatever. I don't know.
Plus, you can just move the same handful of snakes from shot to shot to shot.
That's what I'm saying. It's just effective use of bugs and arthropods.
It's very well done for Andrew Fleming, the director.
Andrew Fleming.
The Spielberg story was on our Raiders of the Lost Ark episode. We talked about how Spielberg was asked for the snake scene in the tomb. How many snakes, Steven, how many snakes do you want? And he's like, 2,000? I don't know. I have no idea. And they're like, okay, 2,000. And then they send 2,000 snakes to them, and they spread them everywhere. And he's like, this isn't a lot, actually.
Right. This looks like 2,000 snakes. I need 7. I wonder, but I'd like to know where that is what I'd like to know. And the scene that we are familiar with in that movie, how many is that? Can I see the invoice? I want to know how many snakes. And what did you pay per snake? Is it by the pound? These are all questions. You can't argue that those are questions. Oh, and so this is probably the scariest stretch of the movie when I was a kid. They are not being nice. I think it bothered me just as much that her friends were being mean as it did that she might die in this scene. Just like, those were your only friends, Sarah. Oh, man.
And now they want you dead.
And you have to go to school with them later. Ew.
I know. Ugh. It's not like she makes new friends.
No, she just seems to have a nice relationship with her father after this. Helps get the groceries out of the car. I think that's nice. All right. So they're going to make it look like... Well, they write a note saying, sorry, I killed that boy, and love Sarah. And so they're going to blame her for his death and make it look like she had a suicide. But luckily they cut her the wrong way, so she's not bleeding out too fast. And so she runs upstairs, and it's interesting, the limits of the magic, because they don't want to chase her upstairs. Like, that still seems dangerous to them. Like, yeah, we can float. Yeah, we can make you see things that aren't there, but they really only know a couple tricks. And it's like, once you realize these are glamours, these things aren't real, it's going to stop being effective. So we've already... You girls, you go up and see what she's doing. I'll stay down here. I'm chill. I'm fine. But they're still scared of Sarah. So all Sarah has to do is a reverse glamour and make Rochelle see her hair that hasn't lost, and burns have come back on Bonnie, and she looks like freaking Deadpool. And they run out because they're vapid. Mm-hmm. Not all they care about is the things that they've gained in this 3 months. The glamour of witching. And
Sarah at this point invokes Manon, but for good. And she also tunes into the power of her dead mother, who was a witch herself. Mom and Manon, together we shall triumph. And Nancy comes up to attack her, but Sarah uses her super witch powers, makes Nancy turn into snakes and bugs like the Oogie Boogie Man. And Nancy gets freaked out. And she's like, look, I'm sorry. Things got out of hand. I'm going to go now.
I'm just going to go home.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Love you.
Call
Goodbye.
You, okay?
Yeah. But then
I bind you, Nancy. But it starts. So like Nancy's like, I will figure out a way to fucking kill you later. But as soon as she turns it on her and is threatening to take away the powers that Nancy has gotten, now she's pissed. You will not bind me, white witch. And that's when the cool... Everything flies at the wall and the clothes in the dresser.
It's exhausting. It's too much.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the movie's out of steam at this point.
All right.
She wins. She wins the witch battle.
She wins. And forever puts poor fucking white trash Nancy into a mental institution for the rest of her life. I don't think this is a fair ending, but whatever. Just kill her. This is not nice. Just kill her at this point. Should she have to be in this place?
Plus, you bound her. She'll be fine. She can't hurt anybody or herself. And I think it's nice that she says you can do no harm to others or yourself.
Right. Well, this doesn't look like she's having the greatest time.
Yeah, it seems like she's getting harmed herself. But yeah, and then the other two come over and they're like, hey, Sarah, what's up? Do you still have powers? And she's like, yes, I do, motherfucker. And makes lightning come down. And they're like, we don't have powers.
And a tree fall.
And they run away. And that's the end of the movie.
Okay. And the moral of the story is, don't move to LA.